YeahNah, I am Elaine Reeves, and welcome to yet another interview held right here at the Colony Hotel in Congotown, Monrovia, Liberia. I have two wonderful guests with me today, and we'll just take a very short break. As soon as we get back, I'm going to introduce them for you. YeahNah. Welcome back, and like I said, we're at the Colony Hotel right here in Congotown, Monrovia, Liberia, and I have two wonderful guests today from the Advanced Converged Technologies, developers of Watchman. Firstly, I'll have the co-founder, who is Mr. Bropleh. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. Glad to be here, Elaine.
Yes, thank you so much for honoring our invitation. So we'll just get right into it. Can you give a little in-depth introduction of who you are and what you do at Watchman, just in a little nutshell?
Sure, thank you. So my name is Bropleh, and I'm the co-founder and chief strategy officer at Advanced Converged Technologies, developers of the Watchman social impact app. My role at Watchman is really to help grow the brand globally, strategy, and then also business development. So when you think about our approach to the market and all of that, I work closely with Oliver, but that's kind of like my mandate.
Yeah. Okay. And how long have you been with Watchman?
Oh, that's a good question. So I would say officially 2021.
Okay.
But I would also say that, Oliver, as he thought about this idea, he would share some of the thoughts about it, because I was born from his personal experience, and I'll let him tell that story. But so since 2021, I came here to Liberia to figure out how can I reconnect with my home, and the opportunity to work with Watchman satisfied the professional side as well as the personal side for me. I always live by this mantra that my late brother, he was my mentor, my best friend, he would always say, let the power of the purpose propel you. Mm-hmm. And I believe that the mission and the strategic vision of Watchman in terms of closing this very huge social gap when it comes to emergency response fits right there with me. Being a Liberian born company, being a Liberian led company, and as we're taking this global, it's really been a cool journey.
All right. So tell me about your past experiences before Watchman. What were you doing?
Absolutely. Thank you. So I would say this. I'll tell you about my experiences because as entrepreneurs, we're always juggling a lot of balls in the air. So I'm a global strategist by trade. I've been doing this work for about 20 years.
Wow.
I currently, in addition to Watchman, I currently, lead strategy and planning for Habitat for Humanity International over their 70-country footprint. So when you think about how you allocate resources, how you plan, how you actually make trade-off decisions, that's the work I lead currently with Habitat for Humanity. And so it was with that background in market systems and thinking about global expansion, leveraging that network, we're really able to have very interesting conversations, and opens a lot of doors for us in how we can actually grow the Watchman presence across Africa.
All right, so you've been back here trying to work with Oliver. How has that experience been for you so far? How's the market? How's the people?
Good question. So, Oliver and I have, we've been classmates since, I want to say, third, fourth grade.
Interesting.
And then we went, there was a little break, and then we reconnected when we were in junior and senior high at St. Patrick's. So I would say we're brothers. So, it's an interesting dynamic, right? We're both business professionals. We've both started companies of our own. And so with Oliver, he has a way of convincing you without actually asking, to come on board. He'll just kind of proffer up an idea and say, hey, it's here. There's an entree. It's up to you to see if you want to actually delve into it or not. But in terms of our working relationship, we have to find a balance. Sometimes it's a hybrid relationship of where I would leverage our relationship, our personal side of relationship, to influence some of his decisions. But then there's also times like where, he holds me accountable. We have disagreements about like approach. We have disagreements about like strategy. We have disagreements about tactics. And we have to go through that piece. So I think it's a learning journey for both of us, but I've really enjoyed it. And I always tell this to him, I'm very transparent with him. I always tell this to him, I say, hey, you know what? As I thought about a way to actually give back, to Liberia and to the continent at large, I said, my Watchman, Advanced Converged Technologies, was that opportunity. So, I jumped in like 2 feet in, and we've been like rocking and rolling since then.
All right. So I think by now, as how far we've gone in the interview, people are wondering, what is this My Watchman? So can you just like give just a little bit like shine a little light on what My Watchman is all about? Absolutely.
So My Watchman is an app. You can find it on your Android phone. It's in the Play Store. You can find it on your iPhone store. And what it does is it really serves it. Right now we're active in Liberia, but we're going to Kenya and ultimately Ghana. But what that app does is, like, if you have, let's just use fire, because fire is our biggest response type. If you're in a fire emergency in Liberia today, and you have the My Watchman app on your phone, and you just hit that fire icon, immediately what happens is you will get a call from our command center. We run a command center, a 24/7 command center. You'll get a call from our dispatchers first to find out if it's a real fire, right? That's the first thing. After that, what happens is we actually like connect you with the Liberian National Fire Service. They also have the responder end of the app. We provided like technology tools for them to actually strengthen their infrastructure. So once you raise that SOS, goes to the My Watchman dispatch center, and then like the Liberian Fire Service gets it, and they'll beat it to you. That whole process from like initially raising that SOS for them to get to you, roughly about 15 minutes tops. Right? And this is Liberian Fire Service, one of our strongest partners. Over the last 2 years, we've actually been able to like save several communities. They've responded to 118 fires over the last 2 years, just through our app alone.
All right, so great. Okay, that's great. So you're the strategist. Can you talk about impact so far as it relates to since the existence of My Watchman?
Absolutely, absolutely. First, I'll talk about what we've done. I'll talk about the impact, but then I'll also talk about what the future looks like. So we'll talk about impact. Today we have over 8,000 customers. Those 8,000 customers include corporates like Futa, Connex, Nexium, Petroleum. These are all Liberian market because that's where we are, corporations. We have WaterAid, an NGO. We've actually done a lot of tests and partnerships. We partner with like IRSC, the International Rescue Committee, to actually test out, for example, gender-based violence reporting, right? So we've been out there engaging. We've been able to like partner with the Liberian Fire Service. We've been able to partner with like security companies here. We've helped build capacity. We've helped do training with them. We do quarterly training with with all of our responders on the app, talking about updates, And then now let's talk about some external facing, right, impacts. So just in terms of numbers for our responses so far, we have had a total of close to 200 live responses over the 2-year period. 118 of those were fires. 30 of those was medical. Another roughly 30 of those was security. We've had about under 10 gender-based violence responses, and that's one of those ones that we really want to look at. So Elaine, what I want to say is when you think about those numbers, don't think about them in a binary sense. That is one-on-one. So for instance, the fires that we've actually been able to like get to, those are all in communities, right? So those 118, yes, there were 118 lives saved, but then do a multiplier effect on how many other things could have happened
Yes.
If the
Properties and all
exactly,
that.
exactly. So we're very proud of that. We're very proud of the history and the impact so far. But what I want to talk about is, what does future impact look like? And I would actually lean into our partnership with Sapria Global, for instance. Sapria Global, they are a global nonprofit, and their focus is on like providing free resources for folks who've gone through like any kind of like sexual abuse, and specifically child abuse, right?
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we partner with them because we want to be able to provide value to our customers. So we're looking at actually having their resources on our app.
Okay.
So you won't just have to, you don't only have to use the app to raise a fire emergency, or use the app when you're in a security situation, or use the app when you have gender-based violence situations. You can also learn from it. You can also have resources there that you can actually interact with.
Okay,
right?
awesome. So let's just talk about your challenges so far, because I'm pretty sure relocating and venturing into something new,
absolutely,
it's a bit, you always have challenges in life or something like that. So can you just elaborate a little on your challenges, and then we go to your final words?
Absolutely. Whew, challenges. Yeah, you know, I would say this. I think about those like 5 a.m. calls with Oliver, and he's saying, man, look, this is where we have to be able to, like, you know, just push through. But let me get into some, you know, details. Entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart. Okay. We love Liberia. Doing business in Liberia is not the easiest, but it's home. Okay. So some of our initial challenges, I'll start with kind of like our target market, right? You know, when you think about the Liberian market, once we can actually break into this market, we're good. One is digital literacy, right? Unlike places like Kenya or Rwanda, where people are very used to using mobile technology, right? The cost of data is not so high, right? It's very easy to adopt something like my Watchman app. As a matter of fact, that is why we're actually going to Kenya. As a matter of fact, this morning we held a call with one of our Kenyan partners, very good call. So we're looking to be like rolling out in Kenya around August of this year or so forth. Yeah. But in Liberia, when you think about the digital literacy gap, that's a huge one. So how do we solve that? We have to find ways to partner with like community-based organizations. We have to find ways to partner with the telcos to be able to educate, right, on that piece. That's one. Another key piece is just around the cost of data. So, you know, when you think about the app, you need to have data to actually raise an SOS, right? So that's another area where we've had conversations ongoing with the telcos here to explore the possibilities of doing what we call zero rated calls. Like the 911 system in the U.S. and most developed countries. Once you dial 911, if you have data, you don't have data, the call will go through.
So it's like a toll-free line.
Exactly. So and the telcos are open to that conversation. Okay, so those are, if you ask me, like some of the two biggest challenges, I would say those are the two biggest ones. You know, I don't want to lean on the whole funding. You know, because funding will happen, but those ones are the real structural ones that we need to, systemic ones that we need to really
because even if you have the funding and people are not like really literate to using
exactly. Yes.
All right. So final words before I let go of you.
Oh, sure. Look, I would say this, you know, my Watchman, the social impact solution, this tech for good solution, we've had conversations with folks in Liberia. We've had conversations with folks in Rwanda. We've had conversations with folks in Uganda. We've had conversations with folks in Kenya. It resonates. Okay. It resonates. It's a great day for Liberia. You know, it's a proud moment for the country. And when we think about just how far we've come in a short period of time, you know, it's one that we can actually be thankful for, but it's also like one that we know that we have a lot of growth and a lot of corrections to do. But I'd like to end with this. We recently won the Global Startup Awards. It's basically like a startup awards for in over 120 countries. They're based out of Sweden, almost like the Grammys of startups. And amongst like 8,300 startups in West Africa, we came out on top in terms of founder of the year. So we're really happy in that. That's huge. That's a huge recognition, and we're proud of that. But thank you, and we look to continue to grow. We look to continue to like spread the message and see how we can do some good in the world.
All right. Thank you so much. It was nice having you.
Thank you.
And I hope to have you again on set probably a few years to come and see how far you've gone.
We'll love to come back, Elaine.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye.
All right, so we'll take a very short break, and as soon as we get back, I'll be interviewing the CEO, Oliver Klark. Stay with us and don't go nowhere. YeahNah. YeahNah, welcome back. I am Elaine Reeves, and like I said, I have developers of My Watchman. Right now I have the Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Oliver Wleh Klark Jr. Hi, Oliver. How are you?
Hi, Elaine. Thank you for having me on your set.
Yeah, thank you for also coming. It's nice to have you. So can you tell me who Oliver Klark is?
Wow. I was getting very uncomfortable with that question, honestly. So, how can I say? I like to consider myself as someone who's like to problem solve. I would call it that. I like to problem solve.
Yeah.
So I have that kind of inquisitive nature. When I see something, I try to see how I can make it better. Or if there's no existing solution, I try to find a solution. And that's just about everything I do. It just now happens to be a business for me, but that's how I usually approach life, problem solving.
All right, so let's talk about My Watchman. You're the brains behind it. How did that come about? What's the story? Because Mr. Bropleh said he was going to keep that for you to tell. It's your story to tell.
My Watchman actually started, like everything else we've done, it started out of personal experience. So again, I've said the story a million times, but what I like about it is it's like life for me in terms of deja vu moments.
Yeah.
So again, I will go back as far as growing up, being born in Newtown, growing up in Newtown where whenever we had emergency, and I remember this very vividly, whenever we had emergency, my parents didn't have anything. We grew up in a small zinc shack in Newtown, my siblings, my mom and dad, and whenever each and one of us got sick, and I got sick a lot, I know that for a fact, but when I got sick, my parents would try to go on the road, try to find a car, maybe find one of the neighbors who had a car and to get us to the hospital.
Yeah.
Whenever there was some fire within the community, there was always a community approach where people gather sand, there was kind of water, and try to put that fire off. If there was rogue within the area, there was some robbery, again, there would be a community approach. So that problem persisted in life for me and millions of other Liberians. So back in 2015, my wife now, then girlfriend, had a security emergency. So she called me, picked up the phone, and I mean the distress I could hear in her voice, the panic and everything else. So I tried to call all the numbers I knew just to make sure she got help.
Yeah.
Nothing worked. So I got my brothers, we drove to her place. By the time we got there, thankfully nothing tragic happened, but it was a what-if moment for me. And like I said, it's almost like deja vu growing up and not having access to emergency response services when you know it's in the country, but just know where to get it. So that's how the entire concept of My Watchman developed. Trying to find solutions so that my girlfriend then could have access to critical emergency response services when she was in the position. And then as we developed that idea, we figured, but we could just add medical, we could just add fire and all those different things. And that's how the entire idea started with My Watchman.
Okay, awesome. Great story. Can you tell me how the app works? Because I'm pretty sure people want to know how this app works. It's pretty new to Liberia.
Okay. So for now, the app has about 5 services we offer right now. Fire emergency response services, security, medical, gender-based violence, and health and safety check-in. But with the app, when you're in emergency, one of the things that make the app really, really good and make it very attractive in other countries we are talking to about expanding our services is the fact that when you're in an emergency, the app grabs your location and sends that to our command center. That's very critical. That's very key. Because even with the existing 911 services you have within developed countries, they're still asking for your address. If I was in the US right now, call 911, they would say, okay, thanks, this 911, what's your address? With my Watchman app, we made it more efficient by just taking it with a few minutes to ask for you to give your address.
Yeah.
So we go, once you raise that emergency, the app grabs the location, sends that to our command center, and then we'll call you and we'll just confirm your address with you. Okay? So we'll call you for 3 reasons. 1, just to make sure it's an actual emergency.
Yes. 2,
to make sure the emergency type you're in. Because I could be excited, I mean a fire emergency and mistakenly click security.
Yeah.
So we confirm the emergency type, because if you're just in fire and we just dispatch fire service when you actually need an ambulance, then we're not helping you. So we'll call verify the emergency type, verify it's an address emergency, and then we'll confirm your address. So another effective thing about the app, and this came about again with the development process. Most countries, African countries, don't have addressing system, formal addressing system.
Yeah.
So for example, Liberia, again, I will give you my childhood experience, Newtown. If anybody asks me in Newtown, where did I live in Newtown, unless you're familiar with the area, I would say I live Lagoon. And then I would try to give people direction and say, okay, I live Lagoon. You will come behind Plaza Cinema, you walk down past my Bubba Garage, you pass by one Zen house, and then you get to every house in Newtown is pretty much a Zen house. And then I would say the Green Zen house, and you get there's 60 different Green Zen houses. So that inefficiency, we took that out by grabbing your address.
Yeah.
And then just like some other app works, the app, when we send that emergency, we assign it to the nearest responder. From their app, they just click navigate. They're not inputting your address. So again, we're making it very efficient. We'll cut down time just by clicking navigate, because the system already grabbed your address, sends it to the command center. When command center assign it to the nearest responder, they click navigate. They're not sending the address because it's already built within the system.
Okay.
And when they click navigate, it gives them step-by-step directions to your location. And then the good thing about that is, again, and that was this accountability piece. Within the app, you see who's coming to you, where they're coming from, and their ETA.
Okay.
And that person also see your location and their ETA to get to you. But more than that, our command center also see that in real time. Because, for example, if you're Elaine, you're in distress, and we assign your emergency to Oliver, and Oliver hasn't left within the first 3 minutes, the command center knows that, and they call him, Oliver, why haven't you left?
Yeah.
And so that piece we added within the app. So those are some of the services we offer that I think that has made the app very efficient. That first year we had an average response time of about 15 minutes. We've been able to cut that down to about 10 minutes on average.
All right. So, would you say this is the first of its kind, the app in Liberia?
I don't even want to restrict that to Liberia. I'll be very, I'll be bold and say that. I don't even want to restrict that to Liberia, because after did our market research and I was serving other countries we go into, we're the first in terms of how we bring all the services together. We're the first. I would say maybe even globally, technically, because we have people within the U.S. Talking about using the app and maybe resort in other remote areas. The way we bring the services together, we're the first, I would say, globally. We've seen other apps, but some will only talk about maybe giving you access to a medical, some will give you access to security, but the way we brought the entire ecosystem together, medical, security, and fire, and gender-based violence, from our survey and our research around the globe and other markets we're trying to enter, we're the first that brought it together. I'll be bold to say that. Okay,
great. So we talked about, you talked about the app. Let's also talk about subscription, because I know that there's subscription towards it. How does the subscription process work?
So the subscription with the app, again, coming from a background, Newtown, when we started first, we had the app. It was surprised, I would say, for middle class. I'll be honest to say that. And that's why when Bropleh Snow came on board, he was like, dude, think about your background. Can people who grew up where you grew up afford this? You understand? It would think about this, okay, I'm working, I can afford the app. But can my driver afford this? The country we live in, people live on less than $2 per day. Can they afford this app? So we had to rethink the entire strategy and do bottom of the pyramid. So it's for everybody, but we made it so affordable that anybody can afford it. Anybody, no matter who you are, you can afford the app. And that was one of the great things that Snow did when he came over, was to design that entire strategy so that everyone has access to the app. So it's an emergency response app. We always tell people we made it as cheap as possible, so that you can afford it. We don't want you to use the app, meaning that when you use that app, it means you're in distress. It means you're in a very unfortunate situation. But we made it affordable so that if you need to have access to it, you can have access to it. So for lesser bottled water, in some cases, That's what the app costs per month. So that's what we went with that pricing strategy to make sure that, okay, yes, it's on my phone. Yeah, I'm paying $2 a month for it. Yeah, I may never get to use it, which is very true.
Yeah.
But you don't want to be without it.
And we hope that you never get to use it.
Exactly. We pray you don't get to use it because, yeah, in as much as you're paying for it, but the fact is, whenever someone uses that app within the command center, you imagine it because I've listened to some of the calls because all our calls in the command center they recorded. I've listened to calls. You can hear the distress in the people's voice, the panic, and because this is so new to our society, there's still a lot of doubt about how the app works, or even if it even works. There's a lot of doubt. And again, I will go back. I get really excited, so slow me down when I'm talking about the app.
Chill, just remember not chill.
Yeah, no, that's why I ask you how much time do we have. So I remember this lady from Nukutan, Victoria Young, and that resonated with me because I'm very familiar with the territory. So Victoria Young, and this was back in, I think it was October or November of 2021. She lives Point Four. So for those who are familiar with Nukutan, she lives Point Four. She sells around Redemption Hospital. So again, when people say I would never get to use the app, our stats shows that about 80% of the life emergency we had were people helping other people.
Okay.
So Victoria Young is a prime example. Victoria Young lives Point Four. She sells Redemption Hospital. She was selling when the fire happened.
Yeah.
She was not threatened. Nothing from her was being threatened. But because she had the app, she helped the fellow whose house was on fire. Okay. And that saved an entire community. Again, I live in Nukutan. If fire happens to one house here, the entire community got wiped out. And we can talk about the Popo Beach incident that happened where the entire community got wiped out, where the president rebuilt those houses. Yeah. It's the entire community. One fire, the entire community gets wiped out. So those are some of the things we always encourage people. Yeah, you may never get to use it, but more than likely you might help people. Yeah. Again, 80% of our life emergencies have been people helping other people.
Okay, that's awesome. So recently, before we go to the awards you just won, I want to talk. You talked about bringing Snow on board. Yeah. Why him? I'm pretty sure you had other people. Why do you think he was gonna support your idea or be able to contribute to your initiative?
I don't think it was him going to support my idea. Like you still have this method where I convince people. No, it's all about somebody wanting to be a part of it. Yeah. More than you trying to convince them. If I have to convince you that this is a good thing, come let's work on it. Then I'm trying too hard. If we don't see the value from the initial onset, that this is great and we can work on it. It's not just with my Watchman, with a bunch of other different things we do. So my method of trying to get people to work along with me is I present my ideas. I don't hide my ideas. So my classroom, group chat is one of my sounding boards. Okay. So once I have ideas, I push it out there. And I have feelers. I have a tenor that you don't see, but I kind of gauge people interesting things that I put out there. I gauge people perception about certain things. So, and he came in 2021. He came for vacation, everything else, trying to reconnect, like he said. And I just pushed the idea. He was like, oh, dude. I said, no, just take a look at this, take a look at that. And I was just filling out because whenever I push the idea within the group chat, I get 1 or 2 responses. But then, again, it was just at you because his space, where he works at Habitat, his experience with global strategy and his experience with working with people at the bottom of the pyramid. So that marriage, it was a deal. Okay. So in as much as I got him, what he brought to the table was something else that I don't think if I try hard to convince somebody else would have worked. Okay. Yeah. That's
awesome. So can you talk about the recent award you won and what the next step is for My Watchman, what that means for My Watchman?
Okay. So we won the I will start back. The Global Startup Awards, they're the largest ecosystem, independent ecosystem competition for startups. They're on 3 continents, 120 countries across 3 continents. We got nominated in 3 categories. We got nominated Startup of the Year in Kenya because we are starting there, even though we haven't officially launched the service. Yeah. We got nominated as Ecosystem Hero of the Year, West Africa. We got nominated as Fund of the Year, West Africa as well too. So after the nomination process, there was an internal jury process where they vetted your ideas, they tested your ideas. After the internal jury process, we made it to regional finalists. In all 3 categories, we got nominated. And then there was the public voting process. And out of that public voting and the jury process again, we came out victorious as Fund of the Year, West Africa. And for me and for My Watchman, that's a validation of the problem we're trying to solve. Yeah. Because I'll be very honest with you. I don't think we made it this far based on the number of votes we got from Liberia. We appreciate every vote. And the reason why I say that, because compare our population, we're going against companies from Nigeria and Ghana. You understand? So I don't even care if everybody, if I care if everybody in Liberia have voted for us compared to the kind of votes people got out of Nigeria, got out of Ghana. I would have been insignificant. So again, it's the idea that prepare us to where we are in terms of the competition. And that says a lot for my Watchman, but it's a huge win for Liberia, because again, we have great ideas. I've worked with a bunch of young, talented people, and the kind of ideas they have, this is just a manifestation of that. So it's a big win for Liberia, but it's a big win for my Watchman.
Okay, great. So what's the next stage, and what is there that needs to be done? Even though our population are, you know, big, but
but we're not big, but we'll do it. Yeah. So the next stage right now, we it's the voting process. So we represent West Africa now on the continental stage. So we represent West Africa as Fund of the Year. We're going against South Africa, North Africa, and East Africa. So the winner from there will be Fund of the Year for Africa. So then we go now to the global stage, where we find the overall Fund of the Year. Then you'll be going against Asia and Europe and places like that. But again, this was just huge for us. Huge for the country, because it's a great validation of what we've done so far. All
right, great. So can you, any final words to the public before we
my final word would be just keep supporting us. But before I even say anything final, I always like to acknowledge our partners: Liberian National Fire Service, the Liberian National Police, Wellness Partners Clinic, the Seagull Security, Pilot Security, Ministry of Health, the Liberian National EMS. Those guys have been working really hard, even before my Watchman. My Watchman, I just make them better and make them more efficient. So I'd like to say a big thank you to them. A big thank you also to all our subscribers who have been supporting us financially. And more than anything else, the people I worship are our customer engagement center, our dispatch centers, because those guys work 24/7. When I'm sleeping, you're sleeping, they're always there. Just in case someone had an emergency, they're on the other end of the phone, just to make sure to get you that help that you need, and to get that help to you on time. So I'd like to say a big thank you to them, and a big thank you to Liberia for helping us reach this far.
All right, so my Watchman is representing on the West African stage, representing West Africa, with all the other parts of Africa as well. So your support is much needed. You can also, let's talk about your social media platform so that people can follow you on it.
Okay.
It's My Watchman, right?
Yeah, My Watchman.
On Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, also on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, yeah.
Yes, My Watchman. So you can follow and get to know more about the My Watchman and the initiative. And also you can vote for them as well. But it was really nice having you guys on the show today, and I appreciate the fact that you came in this weather. The passion is there. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
I hope, like I said to Mr. Bropleh, I hope to have you in future years to come. I hope to have you and see how far you've gone with this initiative, because it's great and we want to see it go far.
Okay.
So yeah, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having us again. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for watching. And as always, this is how we do it. Go follow My Watchman and keep following the Liberian Heritage Society, YeahNah, on YouTube for more of these interviews and shows, because we also do shows and stuff. So keep following. Until next time, have a very wonderful time. YeahNah.